Start investing now. Welcome to day 81 of our Supersize Your Business Annual Challenge. The sun is coming up and making the background look a little funky. That's okay, we don't care. Today we're talking about, and all this week, we're focusing on building wealth as part of this year's, and actually this is our first year in Supersize Your Business Annual Challenge, to focus on financial health and well-being. And if we aren't investing, if we're not doing things to build wealth for our organization and build up our reserves so that when times change or we want to grow or expand, we have the resources to do that, we're making a mistake and we're leaving money on the table. First question, do you invest in and diversify your income streams? Very important question. If you have multiple streams of income coming into your business, you're much more likely to weather any storms that come our way. And they certainly come our way, right? Political things change, laws change, regulations change, depending on your industry. Some industries are very highly regulated, some not so much. But regulation can always come down the pipe and things can change that we have no control over. And one of the ways to protect ourselves against that, besides insurance and those type things, is to invest part of our profits for future growth and expansion, for just cushion and protection against the things that could happen to our business. And we're always betting that they're not going to happen, yet we buy insurance, which is betting that they are, and we want to be covered if they do. So ask yourself a couple of questions today. Number one, share in the comments below, are you as a business, as a company, doing some sort of investing? I always recommend that if you can afford it and you have decent cash flow, take 10% or so off the top of what you would normally stick in a now zero interest. Some interest rates now have become negative. I don't know. I haven't been watching it very much. I let my people help me with those things. But I do keep an eye on and my thumb on the pulse of what's actually going on in our businesses. So are we investing? What are we leaving on the table by having I'd say over a couple thousand, depending on your working capital, depending on your industry, by having over, and you set that limit in a no interest cash flow checking account or savings account, or not savings account, an almost zero interest savings account versus some sort of investment. I think as soon as we can, timing is everything, but not timing. Timing is not everything when it comes to investing. Using time on our side by starting now and doing it automatically is the fastest, easiest way to build wealth, long-term wealth, legacy type wealth for our organizations, for our businesses, for our families, and for our lives. And nowadays you don't have to be an expert in that, but I would say to protect yourself, you might want to hire one. I definitely use experts in this area because I'm not an expert, and I was married to somebody who was really not an expert and totally devastated us financially, not once, but 3 times. And so I have some baggage and some false beliefs with respect to investing as well, but I make myself do it because I know the power of it. And then it gets fun and easier and easier and easier. So are we leaving money on the table by having too much money in no interest earning secure spaces like savings accounts and checking accounts, and I just got this lecture from my banker the other day, so it makes me laugh. Are we doing that, or are we taking those funds, the excess funds? Yeah, we always keep a buffer, but are we taking the excess funds and investing them so we have them to tap into later? I love this topic. It is not one of my best, strongest topics, but I think it's important that we consider, we always want to be doing things that hedge our bets against life and for ourselves, for our businesses and for our lives. I think the pandemic taught a lot of us a big lesson in preparedness when it comes to the things that are outside of our control. We always want to minimize the possible implications of things that are outside of our control. It's why I do very little with the stock market these days. Burned 3 times, big ways. I don't want to be investing in, or my business investing. It's why I invest in businesses. I know that I can exercise a certain amount of control and have impact over the results that that business has. Somebody else's business on the stock market, don't really have any control over that. However, if it's the only way that you can invest and start building for your future, I say you do it now. You start now. Now is always the perfect time to start investing, developing ourselves, being a better human, things like that. Whenever anybody asks, well, when is the best time? The answer is always now. There you go. Cheat codes. All right. If I can help you in any way, hit me up and ask. I'm traveling, and so I'm a little, but that's okay too. If I can help you, let me know. Otherwise, I will, of course, be with you tomorrow. Going to meet zebras. Bye.